Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me today. I've got the Astrological Overview for January 2025. And again, there's a lot happening. It's hard to believe. It's just around the corner. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and happy holidays as well if you don't follow Christmas. But thanks for watching all year as well. And I hope I've helped you just a little bit in some way. Let's go to the board now. I'm going to draw two tarot cards as theme cards for January for you. So we're doing the first half of the month. Glasses. Anybody having problems with their eyes? Do you need new glasses? Headaches and things like that. And also I'm getting the feeling it's like starting to look at things in detail, not just accepting what's sort of in front of you, but actually critically thinking about things and looking to see if you're getting the full picture, because nowadays often we don't. The card that comes up is the Fool card. This is a major arcana. It can literally change your life. It's about taking a bit of an educated risk, stepping out. So not being kept in a box anymore, or the box of your beliefs, or what you think you should do. It's being your authentic self, and then it becomes clear what you're supposed to do with your life. Other people may not like it. You see this little dog here trying to hold her back from having a go. So always it's good to listen to people, especially those people that care about you. However, bottom line is you have to make up your own mind. And even if you are not successful in whatever it is you want to do with your life, it's all learning and it's all an experience. Like, you might have 10 good ideas, but only one is a practical goer. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try the others out, because you'll learn. It's, like I said, a major arcana. It's a pretty important card. All right, the second half of the month. So just on that point, just watch what goes on in your head in the first half of the month, because you might get some really good ideas that you can test out. So the second half of the month, what do I see? Time to give up those bad habits. So if you smoke, you eat too much, you drink, whatever it might be, you work too much, whatever the case is, I'm seeing a row of cigarettes all toppling over like dominoes. So it's like, get rid of those addictions. It's a great way to start the year and maintain sobriety or equilibrium. And addiction is just covering up some pain that is already deep down inside. The card that comes up is the Tower card, another major arcana card. Look, you really know, this eye in the sky, your own intuition has been telling you that something's not working out. It's like you built up an idea in your head, a tower. I want to mention the Tower of Babylon, for example. But it shifted, it was built on shifting sands, and so all came tumbling down. Something's about to give you a bit of a rude awakening perhaps, or if you have been following, and I hope you have, and listening to your intuition, you already know. So although it might not be pleasant, you can say, well, I already knew that. So could be anything, could be to do with a job. This card doesn't specify the area of life that this occurs, but something could be not altogether built on solid foundations, and so it's going to come tumbling down, and that's the end of that situation. I'm sorry to say, but I also think, on the other hand, when that happens, it's meant to happen, because it's not ideal. It's not an ideal situation for you, and it's not really serving your highest good. So they're the two cards for January. Think of it not only your own life, but also think of this reading as being on the collective level as well. So that is large groups of people or countries, and we might find after the 20th of January, I think that's the inauguration date, we start to find out stuff. So we'll find out. So I'm just going to put those cards there like that, and I'm going to make this bigger so you can see better, hopefully. And we're going to talk about what's happening in January. The first thing you might notice about the January chart is we have this T-square to start the year between Mercury, Saturn and Jupiter. So it's quite a tense challenge. And there's a lot of dynamic energy here, especially with Mercury here, which is moving very rapidly. So this T-square is only going to last the first few days of January, and then Mercury will be out of the way. But there are some challenges in communication, learning, and also grounding big ideas. People might have these great ideas, but it's not practical. So we're going to hear all about it, I'm sure, on a collective level. This opposition here between Mercury and Jupiter really highlights a clash between bold, idealistic expression and the desire to do something different. So there could be all sorts of wild claims that you might hear, and a lot of difficulty in narrowing the focus down to something that's actually practical and realistic. So please don't believe everything you hear. Yeah, Saturn in Pisces also is the focal point. So this is going to add extra pressure because Saturn wants legalities, structure and accountability, and that isn't easily come by. So trying to manifest dreams into reality, there might be some changes, but yeah, again, we come back to this card and it's probably not going to work out too well. The trick is to find the balance between inspirational ideas and motivational ideas and being practical. If there's consistent effort and goodwill on your part and also on the part of other people, this could actually be really useful. You could actually come up with something that works in the physical world, and it can be challenging, however, with communications. But yeah, it's possible. The thing about squares is they are workable. They're not easy, they're challenges, but they're workable. Oppositions are much harder, but as I said, after the first few days, Mercury will be gone and there won't be an opposition with Jupiter. Next thing is Mars is retrograde, and it moves into Cancer on January 6th. And Mars is sort of quite fiery, a very direct energy. And going into Cancer, it's going to lose some of that. And so it'll become more reflective and perhaps emotional and maybe moody. Maybe there's a bit of anger or frustration there. I don't think Mars is particularly happy in Cancer. It is retrograde though, so a lot of what goes on is going to be underneath the surface. It's going to be internal, so you might be feeling a bit miffed or a bit frustrated internally, but you can't actually, it's difficult to actualize your ideas into the physical world. So it could be a bit uncomfortable. It's time to sit with your feelings, basically. There could be a tendency to react on emotional impulses. So if you feel frustrated, you might let rip. But yeah, please try not to do that. Maybe write it in a journal is a better idea. Anything to do with your home and family, Cancer's associated with. So yeah, please be especially patient with family if you can. And try to assess how your emotions influence your motivations. You might have been holding something back in some way, and when Mars is retrograde here, it could all come tumbling out. It's a much slower sort of energy as well. It's time to reevaluate your personal boundaries and don't sweat the small stuff. So in other words, you only want to argue over things that are worth arguing about, not small little details about somebody didn't put the top on the tomato sauce bottle, for example. Oh, the other day somebody didn't do that. There's only 2 people in this household. Somebody didn't do that, and I picked up the bottle, went all over the floor, didn't it? So yeah, we can make a big deal about it, or we can just clean it up and say nothing because it's not worth arguing about. Mercury into Capricorn on January 8th. So Capricorn's very structured and practical and goal-oriented. So this is about communications and thinking, which can lead to you manifesting something physically. As a grounded sign, Capricorn wants you to manifest. So long-term planning, responsibility, clear, concise communications, cut through all the distractions and prioritise what truly matters, especially if you're at work, at a career or something. You don't need to give a whole great big long diatribe about the reasons why. Just make it really succinct and cut to the chase. This kind of energy favours logical decision making. It's quite disciplined. It's great for tackling big projects, strategic plans, and having serious conversations that require clarity and maturity. Do, however, be careful that you're not overly rigid or pessimistic. You want to try to be a little bit adaptable with people. It's great for setting intentions and resolutions. I always think that January is like the template for the year. So Mercury in Capricorn on the 8th of January. It's not the 1st, it's the 8th. But I think it's still a good time to set intentions for the entire year. So Capricorn is sort of steady, works hard and works towards a goal. So you've got the whole year to achieve whatever it is you set your mind to. Then we have the lunar nodes, and they're shifting onto the Pisces-Virgo axis on the 11th of January. So this is again about balancing spirituality and practicality. It's a very sort of practical, that's what we're challenged to be doing in 2025, being practical and turning things into concrete reality. The North Node in Pisces encourages growth through compassion, intuition and surrender. It's time to release some control and embrace the bigger picture if you can. Trust the flow of the universe and connect with your higher ideals. So let go of rigid perfectionism and find fulfillment in creativity and empathy and spiritual exploration. Whereas the South Node in Virgo challenges us not to overanalyze, to micromanage, or to get fixated on the material details. Virgo is quite practical, but we don't want to overdo it. Sometimes it could be like nitpicking over details, like don't fight about the tomato sauce bottle. It's just not worth it. So this dynamic between Pisces and Virgo, it's like, how do you align your intuitive faith of Pisces to the grounded action of Virgo to create meaningful, holistic growth? This transit really urges you to go within and reflect and let go of being overly critical or perfectionistic, and we can allow trust to come into our lives and into our bodies and realise the importance of the interconnectedness of people. We're all connected. So full moon in Cancer on January 13th. This illuminates themes of the home, emotional security and nurturing. And even though Cancer will be, depending on what star sign you are, it'll be in a different house. Unless you're Aries, it'll be in the 4th house, but in other signs it'll be in a different house. However, it might still touch on themes of emotional security and nurturing regardless of what house it's in. It's also about release, culmination, letting go of emotional patterns and fears that don't serve you anymore. It's an opportunity to reconnect with what feels safe and comforting through self-care and a sense of belonging. Even if that's at work, that could be up here in the 10th house. The full moon could be up here, but you still have a sense of belonging. So it's balancing the need for emotional depth with practical energy, and you can help ground this lunar energy into meaningful action. The sun goes into Aquarius on January 19th. This brings energies shifting towards innovation, individuality and collective consciousness. Aquarians are great humanitarians, for example, and that energy is also about being forward-thinking, original, a focus on community and also making social progress. It's a time to embrace your uniqueness and to consider how your personal goals align with the greater good. This transit also supports breaking free from any outdated routine or old programming, old habits, structures that are holding you back. It's time to explore new ideas and perspectives. And with Aquarius's influence, it's also a great, fabulous time for collaboration and looking at unconventional approaches that can spark growth. Saturn is semi-square Pluto on January 26, and it's a bit of a tense energy. It's not an easy energy, but it's not a shocker or anything. But it's only a semi-square, so you don't have to take it too seriously. But it does bring the sensation of stress around structure and transformation. You want to do something and it's got to have a structure, but you're constrained by that structure, which relates to Saturn and its discipline, and Pluto and its transformative energy, and so they clash. And so this can feel like a slow, grinding type of pressure to confront deep-seated fears or limitations. And really it's about looking at your limitations within yourself, your belief systems, because often we can find a way a few days later if we put it out of mind and then come back and look at it with fresh eyes. So it's not as strong as a square, but it can still be frustrating. You can still feel some resistance. There's a change that's happening and you need patience and resilience to deal with it. But slow and steady does win the race there. Mercury enters Aquarius on January 27th, and communication and thought processes are likely to become more inventive, forward-thinking and focused on the bigger picture. You can see there's a lot happening in Aquarius this month. So there is a fair bit of innovation going on. The new moon's also in Aquarius on the 29th, 2 days later. So you've got the Mercury and the new moon. And this is all about new beginnings and embracing new ideas, breaking free from tradition, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, of course, as a co-ruler, and Saturn as the other co-ruler. And so it does bring a clash. And it brings rebelliousness as well, volatility and even chaos. So yeah, try to make yourself comfortable and as safe as possible, but work out what things to give up, because some things need to go. It's old, and to break free from tradition and to think outside the box, that's going to be what saves you. So a pretty interesting month. Oh, and finally, on the 30th, last day of the month, co-ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, goes direct. So, and it's in Taurus, so it could affect your money. So be cautious, because Taurus is associated with money, and also it's an earth sign, so it's practical, grounded, real type things. But when Uranus goes direct, it's going to bring a lot of innovation, a lot of new opportunities for revolutionising stability, finances and material resources. It's going to shake up traditional values. It's going to urge us to rethink how we relate to security and possessions in the physical world. It could be big breakthroughs, anything to do with money and self-worth and sustainability, even cryptocurrencies. It could be big breakthroughs. It's time to embrace change, letting go of outdated structures and allowing innovation to bring fresh perspectives into the way we build and maintain our foundations. So you can see there is a fair bit going on. This Tower card is quite Uranian, but at the same time there's opportunities too. So take a bit of an educated risk, but also don't go overboard. Make yourself stable and secure, and I'll use the word bet. Only bet with the money you can afford to lose, because things like cryptocurrency, I just can't get into it, to be quite honest. But some people, if I was younger, I don't know what my reasoning is, I just find it all too volatile for my liking. All right, so that's it for January, everyone. I do hope this is useful. Thanks so much, and thanks for your support throughout 2024. I look forward to another year with you all, and it's going to be quite a roller coaster ride, I think. I'll catch you all again soon. Horoscopes for January are going up on the website in the next few days. Thanks again. Bye for now.